I'm Alan Weiss, and this is the writing on the wall. Welcome to Writing on the Wall. I want to talk to you today about familiarity. I have this theory of familiarity. I first expressed it to one of the owners of a place I worked in Princeton in the 70s when I was a mid-level sort of nothing, and he looked at me like I was crazy. But here I am today, and I have your attention. We just came back from the Jersey Shore. This is a beautiful day in late July, and in about 2 weeks we'll head off to Nantucket. That's what we do in the summer, and it's very familiar to us. It's like we never left. We have the same house at the Jersey Shore, the same house in Nantucket. The roads are the same, the restaurants are the same, they change just a little. Our neighbors are mostly the same. And there's great familiarity and comfort. We don't have to get readjusted. I know some of you probably have condos somewhere you go to, and everything is the same when you go there. But we also visit other places. We'll be going to Malta and Dubrovnik and Vietnam before the end of this year. We like to visit other places as well, but we try to familiarize ourselves somewhat before we get there. Familiarity creates a sense of belonging and constancy. We don't feel like we're strangers. We don't feel like we have to find things. We don't feel alienated or disaffected. I tell clients to familiarize themselves with the offices they'll be in buyer meetings. I tell them to familiarize themselves with the stage and the setting when they're speaking. If you can't visit it, visualize it. That's my mantra. If you can't visit it, visualize it. What might the office look like? You know, you're either going to be sitting across the desk from someone or sitting in some comfortable chairs or sitting in a conference room. That's about it. You're not going to be standing in the hallway or sitting in someone's car. Stages are either going to be small risers or no risers or a large formal stage. You're going to be able to walk to a certain distance. There'll be aisles. There'll either be classroom seating or theater seating. You can visualize these things. People perform better when they're familiar. You perform better when you're familiar. And that's why we have favorite airlines and favorite bars and favorite theaters and so forth and so on. Favorite routes to take. So don't focus on differences. You know, what are we prone to say? Hey, I have a jacket the same as that. We have the same kind of car. You don't say, hey, you have a jacket very different from mine. So focus on the familiar. Don't focus on the differences. I mean, how many different opening statements are there? Nice to meet you. What can you do for me? Nice to meet you. What can I do for you? Nice to meet you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Nice to meet you. What brings you here today? There's only 5 or 6 possibilities. Prepare for each. Nobody's going to say, you know, it's not so nice to meet you. Nobody's going to say, what the hell are you doing here? Just prepare yourself for the familiar. It's interesting to me that rental cars have controls in all different places. I mean, it's kind of stupid, really, that automakers put controls all over the place. You know, the lights are on this stalk, the lights are on that stalk, the lights are over here. Sometimes the horn doesn't sound if you hit it where you think you should hit it. And so if you're smart, when you get into a rental car, before you drive it off the lot, you check to see where the lights and the windshield wipers and the horn and the radio and so forth are, so you don't have to fiddle while you're driving. You need to familiarize yourself first, and that's what you should do in life. My dogs have their routines. You know, they know my habits. And they know when I put the lights out and I have my keys, they're ready to go down the hall. And they're either going to go out in the yard or over to the pool. And they stop and wait to see which route I take, and then off they go. And if they go to the pool, they have their routine. They go out in the yard, they have their routine. They know what to do. You know, dogs sniff to find the familiar. They find some unfamiliar, but they're very happy finding the familiar. It makes them feel good. So I ask you, are you looking for the familiar in which you can shine? Or do you fear the unfamiliar from which you feel you should hide?